There's a secret that won't cost you a single dollar, and yet it can erase years of built-up carbon deposits in your engine without you having to loosen a single bolt or set foot in the shop. I mean that seriously, and that's exactly why some mechanics would rather you never found this out, because once you understand what I'm about to show you, they lose those inflated diagnostics and those absurd bills they charge you every time you bring your car in for a checkup. If you feel like your car has lost the power it used to have, if you've noticed it's burning more fuel now, if there's hesitation when you accelerate, or a rough idle that shakes like it's struggling to breathe, there's a reason behind all of that, and it's almost always the same one. Your engine is literally choking on its own soot. So today, I'm going to show you the exact procedure, gear by gear, RPM by RPM, minute by minute. Just the way German shops apply it to reverse that damage, using nothing more than the engine's own physics working in your favor. But before you start the engine, I need to warn you about something, and I want you to pay close attention here, because if I skip this now, you're going to end up making the same mistake almost everyone makes. At the end of this video, I'll show you the critical mistake that ruins this secret, the one people make when they try to take it a step further with a deeper cleaning. A mistake that can bend a valve and leave the engine completely dead. So don't leave before the end, because that part is really what can save you from an incredibly expensive repair. Let's start with the first step, and this is exactly the one almost everyone skips, the critical warm-up. You can't start the car and demand high RPMs from the first minute, because the oil is still cold, and cold oil doesn't protect anything. It's that simple. German shops treat this almost like a religion, and that's no coincidence. Before you push the RPMs up, you need to drive normally for 15 minutes, because we need the oil to be fully fluid and protecting the turbocharger before we ask anything of it. And if the temperature needle hits 90 degrees Celsius, give it 5 more minutes of patience, because that means the coolant has reached its operating point, but the oil still needs that extra margin to stabilize. Once the engine is warmed up, we move to the second step. Choosing the right gear. And honestly, this is where most people go wrong without even realizing it. Forget about the longest gear, because cleaning carbon buildup requires airflow and sustained heat at the same time. Both together. So if you're driving between 100 and 120 kilometers per hour, drop down to 4th or 5th gear so the needle sits between 3,000 and 3,500 revolutions per minute if you have a diesel engine, or around 4,500 if it's gasoline. And why does this matter so much? Because at that exact point, you're generating something no static cleaning machine could ever replicate. Constant gas pressure combined with a temperature above 600 degrees Celsius inside the cylinder. And at that level, something happens that I still find fascinating. A phenomenon called pyrolysis, which causes that layer of soot clogging your valves and intake manifold to dry out, crack, and eventually turn into ash so fine that the intake airflow itself carries it out through the exhaust completely naturally. And this explains why, in German shops, before diagnosing a fault in the EGR system or assuming the turbocharger is dirty, the first thing they do is send you out on the highway for a 20-minute drive, because they know from experience that most failures in modern engines don't come from a broken part, but simply from a lack of sustained heat. It's a bit ironic when you think about it. We were taught our whole lives to drive gently to save fuel, and that fuel savings ends up turning into a repair bill somewhere between $500 and $1,000, right when the engine finally clogs up completely. And speaking of saving money before the shop charges you for it, if you feel like this kind of content is genuinely helping you understand your car before something breaks down, this is a good moment to subscribe to the channel and drop us a like. Every week we share secrets like this one, designed to save you hundreds of dollars on diagnostics you didn't even need. Now comes the third step, and I mean this warning seriously. This is exactly where most people ruin the whole process without even realizing it. Thermal consistency. A lot of drivers give the engine a couple of hard revs, let off the gas, and think they're done, that they've cleaned the system. But physics, unfortunately, doesn't work that way. Carbon buildup is a dense crust, almost like volcanic rock, which is why it needs time to absorb that heat steadily. So once you reach the RPM range we mentioned, you need to hold it there patiently for at least 15 to 20 kilometers of clear highway driving. Think of it like holding a blowtorch against a dirty piece of metal. If you pass the flame over quickly, nothing happens at all. But if you keep the heat applied steadily, the grime eventually breaks loose on its own without you having to force anything. And this brings us to the fourth step: load variation. If traffic conditions allow, after 10 minutes at a steady RPM, you can start to play with it a bit. Ease off the speed slightly, then bring the RPMs back up decisively without flooring the throttle, letting the turbocharger work under real load. And thanks to that pressure change, the chunks of carbon that already cracked from the heat finally break free, pushed loose by vibration and the air pressure itself. And even though it might seem like the least important step, the fifth one is just as critical as the others: gradual cool down. And this, honestly, is where a lot of people ruin in a matter of seconds everything they achieved over 20 minutes of effort. You can't finish the cleaning stretch and shut the engine off abruptly at a gas station. If you do, the oil lubricating the turbocharger shaft stops circulating right when that part is still at an extremely high temperature, and that can end up carbonizing the oil and ruining the turbocharger completely. So once you finish the cleaning stretch, shift back into a longer gear and drive calmly for the last 5 minutes of your trip, letting the airflow bring the temperature down gradually. It's possible that throughout this whole process, you'll see a grayish haze in your rearview mirror, maybe even with a slightly bluish tint. And I want you to stay calm about that. There's no reason to worry. As long as no warning light appears on the dashboard, what you're seeing is simply moisture and soot leaving the exhaust system, nothing more. And once you're done, you'll notice 3 almost immediate changes, almost like the engine is breathing differently. A much more stable idle, without those small fluctuations caused by a dirty intake. A much quicker throttle response because air is flowing back in without turbulence. And a smoother sounding engine. That's the sign that the valves are finally seating properly again. And I really want you to burn this into your memory because it's the most important part of this entire video. This method is practically foolproof because it uses the engine's own physics in your favor. But there are 3 red lines you cannot cross under any circumstances, because if you do, the very secret that was supposed to save you money can end up costing you a fortune. The first red line is oil health. Don't even think about holding high RPMs if your oil has more than 15,000 kilometers or more than 2 years sitting in the crankcase, because at that temperature, oil that's already degraded loses viscosity and stops protecting the turbocharger the way it should. The second red line is the cooling system, so keep an eye on the temperature needle without letting your guard down for a second. If it starts climbing past the halfway mark or fluctuating, stop the process immediately, no hesitation. And the third red line has to do with the type of smoke coming out of the exhaust. A light grayish haze is completely normal, but if you see thick, persistent white smoke, pull over at the next safe spot, because that usually means coolant is leaking into the combustion chamber. And at that point, heat won't help you anymore. It'll make everything worse. Now, there is a scenario where this driving secret alone isn't enough, and that's when carbon buildup has been accumulating for years and has physically blocked the intake passages. That's where a second level of cleaning comes in, one that few channels are willing to fully explain. Because let's be honest, a single slip-up at this stage can leave you with a dead engine. If you decide to pair the driving secret with a manual cleaning of the intake manifold, the EGR tube, or the throttle body, a strong degreaser applied carefully and then rinsed off with pressurized water can leave those parts looking practically brand new. And here's an extra secret that's worked well for me. If you plug one of the tube's openings with a rag before filling it completely, the liquid stays inside doing its work instead of draining out right away, which makes the cleaning much deeper. A strong oven and grill degreaser works great for this, or even a chimney cleaner, letting it sit for several minutes before rinsing it off with pressurized water. But the real problem, the one that actually matters, isn't in those parts. It's in the intake ports that connect directly to the valves. Because all it takes is a single piece of carbon falling in the wrong spot. It can end up resting on a valve and keeping it from closing completely. And in the worst case, it can actually bend it. And while we're on warnings, be especially careful around the throttle body, because there's usually an air temperature sensor nearby with a thin, delicate wire, the kind that snaps if you so much as look at it wrong. That sensor doesn't clean up with contact cleaner. It simply won't do anything there. So use the same strong degreaser, but with a light hand, avoiding rubbing directly on that wire so you don't break it. For that same reason, if you're going to scrape carbon off the intake ports with a spatula or any improvised tool, always work from bottom to top and keep a vacuum nearby to catch every particle before it falls inward. And in the toughest cases, running an endoscope through before calling the cleaning done can show you something you'd honestly rather never have seen. A big chunk of carbon buildup sitting right at the bottom, restricting airflow and just one small knock away from breaking loose. And here, finally, is the critical mistake I promised you at the start. Before inserting any tool into those intake ports, it's essential to rotate the engine by hand to make sure the valves in that area are fully closed. Because when an engine shuts off, some valves stay open completely at random, almost by chance. And if you skip this step and clean with a valve still open, any piece of carbon can fall straight onto its seat. And the result is an engine that, when you try to start it, sounds like it has no compression at all. A sound that, I promise you, will send a chill down your spine. If that ever happens to you, there's still an emergency fix. Spray starting fluid into the intake without cranking the starter motor for more than 15 seconds at a time, letting it rest for at least 45 seconds between attempts so it doesn't overheat. Before we wrap up, let's quickly clear up a few questions that are probably already on your mind. How often should you repeat this driving secret? Ideally, every few thousand kilometers, or as soon as you feel the engine starting to lose that sharp responsiveness it used to have. Does it work the same way in diesel and gasoline engines? Yes, because the physics behind the process is exactly the same. The only thing that changes is the RPM range you need to hold. Is it safe to do this if my engine already has a lot of mileage on it? Yes, as long as the oil is in good condition and the cooling system is working properly, which are exactly the red lines we just covered. And if after all this, you genuinely feel like you'd like to understand how your engine, its electrical systems, and its electronics really work, you'll find access to our complete course on automotive mechanics, electricity, electronics, and programming in the description. Because the sooner you understand how these systems work, the less money you'll end up losing on misdiagnoses and on repairs that, honestly, you didn't even need. In the end, taking care of your engine doesn't always take a checkbook. It takes knowledge. And that's something you pick up calmly, with your hands on the wheel. See you in the next one.